Hey y'all, and welcome to PolitiBrawl. My name is Brian, and this is your reminder that the mainstream media has always been like this, not just to Trump, but in general. And in this particular pick, which has nothing to do with politics, this is just Trump being Trump and the mainstream media trying to drag him through the mud. Now, a lot of celebrities used to be good friends with Donald Trump until he ran for president. He used to be really popular in those circles, but the media will do anything it can to make headlines, and they will drag anyone through the mud. And Donald Trump handles this absolutely perfectly in this short clip. But before we dive into the video, I want to give a brief shout out to our great sponsors over at Native Path. Their collection of products, particularly their collagen, will help you lead a more healthy life. But more on that later. Now, let's get back into the video.
Media is so protected, and it's ridiculous that they're so protected, but they can write virtually anything. The difference is, with me, at least they pay some price. And I think more people should have that attitude, and I think you'd find a lot more accurate reporting, including yours.
What was inaccurate so far?
I thought your demeanor was inaccurate. I thought that questions that you were posing to people in my organization were inaccurate and false and unfair.
Well, questions by definition can't be inaccurate. They're questions.
Well, I think the questions themselves were put in such a way that made them statements, and they became statements as opposed to questions, and I think that's not good reporting.
Such as?
It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't think your viewers would be very interested in it, nor do I want to embarrass you.
I don't think I would be, but let's talk about what we talked about yesterday. Those in the financial community I'm talking about, and we talked about this on the phone, who have said, and this is them saying it, not me.
This is them? What do you mean by them? This is one or two people, and what about the positive people?
5 or 6, but the ones who said negative things, and
here we are.
Well, we've got to talk
back to the negative.
Back to the negative.
You know what? Do this interview with somebody else.
Well, we talked about this yesterday on the phone. This is exactly what we talked.
Do the interview with somebody else. Really. You don't need this. Do it with somebody else. And have a good time with it.
Because frankly, you're a very negative guy, and I think it's very unfair reporting. Good luck.
I disagree with you. Sorry to feel that way.
That's a classy move. Simply saying, listen, I'm done here. He doesn't throw a fit. He makes his point. He even shakes the dude's hand. So apparently this interview goes back to his days when he was trying to have some business ventures in Atlantic City, and they weren't doing so well at the time. And so this reporter wanted to go directly to the source, wanted to talk to Trump directly, and he wanted to go in one of two directions. One, try to drag him through the mud and force him to answer the tough questions. Or two, be a bit softer, try to let Trump tell his story. Now, when it comes to reporting, when it comes to interviews, you basically have those two options. That's pretty much your only style. There is a third honest and earnest way, but that way is sort of past. The time where you could get someone like Dan Rather before he went nuts to sit down with all these people, and you can report an interview from just a simple, straight, let someone tell their story, but don't let them go outside their bounds. That reporting used to exist. It doesn't really anymore. And this, I think, was starting the beginning of the end in that regard, because this is a CNN video, back when CNN was in its infancy. And so, you're watching sort of the tide turn. American journalism has always been difficult to deal with. We partially fought the American Revolution because newspapers were whipping up patriots into a frenzy. Hey y'all, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our new sponsors, Native Path. Created by Dr. Chad out of Austin, Texas, he realized that there was something deeply wrong in this medical community. And instead of focusing on nutrition, they were just focused on serving big pharma. So he left and created this new company called Native Path. And what do they do over there? They sell something called collagen. Now, what is collagen? Well, it's not magic fairy dust. It's not this muscle milk. It's not calcium rich. Instead, it is an odorless, flavorless, dissolves completely in water powder that you can mix. And unlike iocane powder, this stuff has massive health benefits. It can help your bones, your joints, your ligaments, your skin, your hair follicles, even your fingernails. This stuff is absolutely packed with the nutrients that we lose so constantly in our modern diet. This stuff is a fantastic supplement, can help you live a healthier life. And if you go to this link down here below, you will find up to 45% off of certain products. That is how much NativePath cares about your health. So go check them out, link in the description below. And now, back to regularly scheduled programming. And that continued during nearly every single war. And they used to be controlled by one party or the other during the up until about the middle of the 1900s. And then we had that wonderful little golden era where we would turn on our televisions or our radios and we would just get the news. That's it. You just get the truth, what's actually happening. And then you have that really golden era when you would turn on your televisions, you would listen to Walter Cronkite, and you took him at his word. It wasn't until 1968, in my opinion, did the media go full nuts. And when they realized that they could do more, they could make more money, they could get you glued into the screens by sensationalizing their headlines. What they particularly did is they started going after Richard Nixon and just continued to poke at him as much as they possibly could. They were already doing that in the early 60s, but it got ramped up even harder when he successfully won the White House in 68. And it never stopped from there. There's a reason that the movie Network occurred in the early 70s, talking about this random TV channel that wasn't doing very good, when once they realized that they could basically sensationalize everything, they became the top news coverage. So that is the state of our journalism. It's either drag someone through the mud as much as they possibly can, print the most negative possible story so you can get that visceral reaction, or you can take the Tucker Carlson path, where you simply do conversations. And more importantly, you let the other person talk and tell their story. That's what made Tucker so popular after Fox fired him. He let controversial people talk. He let things that were outside the mainstream media seep in. And that's what he brought to the table. We are entering a new age of media. It is an age where the algorithms do something similar to the headlines. If you liked certain things, the algorithm will continue to feed you certain things. That's good for YouTube, that's good for creators like myself, but it also runs the risk of you having some very deep biases, and I find myself in this trap constantly. We like to hear what we want to hear. But the point of this show is for me to tell you what I think is legitimately going on. So if you agree with me, you're going to hear this opinion. If you disagree, you're probably not going to hear it, which is one of the inherent problems. But this kind of journalism that you saw here that Trump handled perfectly is the kind that can absolutely destroy a person's reputation, both the journalist and the person being interviewed. No one likes being needled about their finances. No one. And that's why this is such a problem across the spectrum of media. We're finding out more and more that the kind of content that's being put out there, the headlines, are all that matters. And so Trump is not giving them their headline. He is denying them that possibility. And you know what? Further into that interview, he makes the point that there are some libel laws that protect these mainstream media outlets. It might be time to start looking at rescinding some of those laws. Because if you are a media outlet who does nothing but lie and sensationalize, you probably need some consequences to your factual untruths. That's, I think, fair and within the bounds of a good democratic society. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed this segment here on PolitiBrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.